AI voice agents will be worth $22 billion by 2030. Six figures is less than 0.0005% of that. In this video, I'm going to show you how to have your Chrome and eat it too. Starting from choosing your niche, finding your first client, and building your first agent.
So if you want to make passive income, gently tap the like and subscribe buttons and keep watching until the end, because I promise that this video will contain valuable information you won't find anywhere else. I'm going to make it extremely easy for you to choose your niche using one simple diagram and one simple analogy. Let's jump right into the diagram. We have a circle with a heart in it. This represents something that you love at least enough to do for at least 90 days. Any less than that, and you're just going to quit. You're not going to get enough experience to actually see any good results from it. And also, it's not going to be enough time for you to develop this into a habit. And obviously, that just means that you're going to quit. And if you quit, obviously, it's not going to work out. Number two, we have a circle with a money sign in it. This just means that it's going to be a field that actually has money in it, right? Let's say you're trying to make an AI agent for like crocheting or something like that. Yeah, actually, there's a lot of money in that, which is really interesting, but that might not be as something as big as something like real estate, for example, right? And so this is something to take into account when you're thinking about your niche. Finally, we have a circle with a thumbs up in it. This represents your unfair advantage. Are you good at it? Do you have some experience doing it? Do you have a network? Do you know people who are in this industry? And the goal here is to find a balance between the three, between what we love doing, between how much money it's able to make us, and three, how good we are at it, what is our unfair advantage. And the analogy I would like to make to this is like playing a sport. Let's say back in high school, you probably played a sport, right? Whether it be something like basketball, tennis, volleyball, track and field, whatever it might be. You probably did something, and you probably did it because you liked it, right? You probably played basketball because you liked it more than something else, or you probably played tennis because you liked it more than volleyball, whatever it might be, right? And then over here, you were probably good at it because you've done it for a year or two. You have more experience than the average person. And finally, it probably didn't make you money, but the point is there's a lot of demand in it because people probably went to go see your tennis games. They probably went to see your basketball games, things like that. And so this is how you guarantee that you're choosing something that you love, you're choosing something that you like doing, and you're choosing something that there's demand for it. And the reason why I chose sport is because starting an online business or actually doing anything is like playing a sport, right? You want to pick something that you like doing, that you're good at, and there's demand for it. And not only that, when you're playing a sport, it doesn't feel like work, right? Because the only thing that you're thinking about really when you're playing a sport is how do I win? How do I play better? How do I get better? How do I have better teamwork, right? And when you're thinking about all these higher level goals, it doesn't feel like work anymore, right? It feels like a lot of fun, and it feels like you're having a huge sense of accomplishment. And this is a really easy life hack for you to basically make it easy for you to do the hard work. Because when you really look at it, when you're playing a sport like football or basketball, it's extremely hard work. And the exercise that you're getting from it, you're probably losing like 500 calories just by playing a game, right? And if you think about how much you're running around, how much you're basically throwing stuff around or like, tackling people, it's a lot of hard work that's at the base, right? But when you're not really thinking about that, you're thinking about the scorecard, right? How can I make more money? How can I score more? How can I make the fans cheer harder, right? And so this is the same thing with online business. You need to pick something where the accomplishment is going to basically shadow all of the hard work behind it, right? Nobody wants to just be writing code all day. Nobody wants to just be, writing assistant prompts all day, right? The goal is to basically increase your network, increase your skills, increase your financial freedom, things like that, right? And so obviously, I want you to think about starting an online business, like choosing a sport that you love. Hopefully it's something that you've done in the past. Hopefully it's something that you love doing and it'll make you money. So let's just jump right into the different ones that I think that are the best. And hopefully we'll be able to find something that works for you as well. So number one, the one that I like the most is going to be home services. And this is going to be things like HVAC, roofing, solar, pest control, water treatment. There's a ton, right? But the reason why I like this so much is the people who work in this, they're usually really down to earth, right? They're hardworking blue collar people that you can just talk to them and they're going to treat you well. Okay. And then also, not only that is you probably have some experience with home service, right? Unless you're living under a rock, you probably cut your lawn, right? You probably, mowed, cleaned your carpet, whatever it might be, right? And so you have experience with people who work in home services, And this is going to give you at least some, advantage into being able to talk to these people. And this is usually the easiest starting point. Okay. And after that, number two, I would like to recommend real estate agents. Now, why do I do that? Now, the thing is, most people, if you're above the age of 25, you're probably, trying to look for a house and things like that. You probably know a real estate agent, or maybe somebody in your family is a real estate agent. So this is going to be a really easy way for you to basically land your first client. And obviously, your goal is to basically land your first client, because that's going to give you the startup capital in order to basically scale all of your outreach in order to get your second, third, fourth, and fifth whatsoever, right? And so real estate agents are very good because usually they work by themselves, or maybe they work under a realtor. And it'd be really good if you can even contact that realtor and then sell to that realtor, because then they're probably working with like 10 real estate agents, and all of a sudden you have one client that's giving you 10 clients, which is probably enough for you to literally replace your 9 to 5 with. So anyways, I kind of went off a tangent there, but real estate agents are very, very good. And third, I just put other here, but this is also very, very good. I don't want to make it seem like you have to choose one of these two. Literally, this is just as good as these, or this is just what I found personally to be what I enjoy working with the most. And obviously, it just comes back to going to the diagram that I showed you earlier, just choosing what you like and what you're good at. Okay. So here, this is basically other solopreneurs like hairstylists, insurance agents, lawyers, and etc. Right. And one thing that you probably notice is that here we're targeting typically smaller companies or even solopreneurs. And there's a reason for that, because if we're targeting larger corporations, there's a lower chance that they're going to want to work with a solo agency owner, because they're probably going to be working with large corporations, and those larger corporations are literally spending millions of dollars targeting these corporations. And so it's much better for you to target a smaller kind of entity. And that's going to allow you to have a higher chance of closing them. And also that's going to give you more iterations. And iterations just basically means like repetitions, right? When you're doing an exercise, right? If you're doing 8 repetitions, you're going to get 8 times of the practice, right? As opposed to when you're just doing one really heavy rep, then you're not going to get any practice, right? Maybe your form is not going to be very good, right? And so the same thing with this is we're just trying to find our first client so that we can get the practice of, how do we build agents? How do we customize agents? How do we use Anyden and Vapi and things like that? How do we deliver a good client experience? That's the only way that we're going to get the repetitions that we need in order to get better at what we do, to find the second, third, fourth client, and basically, build this into something that's sustainable and that's going to last for a career. So real quick, I just want to jump right in and go ahead and show you the niches that I would recommend that you do right now. And a really good reason for that is because this is your unfair advantage, right? So in my school community, I literally have a course. Just go to the classroom and click on AI voice agents for every niche. And here you can see all of the different niches that I've made an AI voice agent for already. So things like real estate, dental, restaurant, med spa, HVAC, law, all of these different stuff. Just choose one, and all you need to do is basically go in and then click on the post, and then go ahead and download all those files, and you can get started right away. Here's everything you need to know about outreach for your AI voice agency, from all the different types of outreach to the pros and cons of each. And by the end of the video, I'll tell you exactly what I would have done if I were starting from scratch in order to find the first client and then scale from there. Let's go ahead and dive right in. So the 2 main types of outreach are warm and cold. Warm is basically people who already know your name or know who you are. So for example, your friends, family, and your professional connections. Now, by professional connections, basically what I mean is business owners who already know your name, or at least who you are, right? So this could be something as simple as, maybe you hire somebody who mows your lawn every week or two. You can literally go up to them and make a really soft and easy pitch. Something like, hey, how's it going, man? I really love the service that you're providing every single week. You always leave everything looking so beautiful, and you're the most reliable people that I've ever worked with. And, given how good you are at what you do, you're probably spending a lot of time on the phone, right? And they're probably going to say something like, I'm on the phone answering calls, making quotes, something like that, right? And then you can say, you know what, let me actually tell you a secret. I can actually build you something that can help you never have to pick up your phone ever again. It's going to be able to answer your calls 24/7, so that even when you're sleeping, it's going to be booking appointments into your calendar, so that when you wake up the next morning, you can go ahead and look at that calendar. You'll know exactly where to go, exactly what to do, and exactly how much money is waiting there for you to just go ahead and collect. Does that sound something that would be helpful for you? And obviously they're going to be very interested, because the thing is, most people, they've heard of the word AI, but they've never actually dove right into it, right? Most of them are basically they don't have the time to learn, right? And so your goal here is basically say, okay, well, I show them that you're confident in what you do, show them that you know exactly what to do in order to basically deploy this agent for them and make it as smooth as possible, and also show them how much money it's going to make for them, and then obviously show them that you're only going to charge them a fraction of what you're actually going to be able to help them make. So, anyways, that's basically how you do warm outreach. Now, cold outreach is going to be people who don't already know your name. So this is going to be people who are going to be reaching out for the first time. And the most popular methods for this is going to be things like cold email and cold DM. Now, cold email basically means you're going to write like a pretty basic script. Here at my community, I teach how to basically use AI to write hyper personalized emails, and then also use something called N8N, Automatic Workflow Builder, in order to send those emails automatically. But the point is, we want to automate this as much as possible and also make it as personalized as possible to maximize our conversion rates. So DM basically means direct messaging. And this is going to be things on platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Those are probably the major ones. And again, you can automate that to make it really easy for you. Finally, not finally, second, we have something called cold calling. And that basically means, looking at something like a phone book, or maybe, you scrape phone numbers from a database and you're either going to call them manually or automatically. And good thing for us is in my community, and what part of what I do is I research and develop AI cold callers so that we can make sure that we're scaling this up as much as possible and automating as much as possible, because no one wants to sit at their desk for 8 hours a day saying the same exact thing to people who don't even want to listen to them, and who only answer like 20% of the time, right? So it only makes sense to start automating this as much as possible. And finally, we have something called social media. By this, I mean things like making posts or making content to post to platforms like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, whatever it might be. Reddit. There's a ton. So let's go ahead and jump right into the pros and cons of each type of method. Now, the first type of method is going to be warm network. Again, this is going to people who you already know, and therefore the fear factor is the lowest, right? Now, again, you might be saying, "Hey, anything, I'm scared that maybe they might think that I'm a loser, that I'm trying to start my own business." Well, to that I would say, number one, it doesn't matter what people think of you. I can guarantee you that your goals matter more than what somebody, some trash thought that some loser's going to say about you, right? So, and besides, people that you know and truly love you, they're going to want to support you, right? So why wouldn't you tell them what you're doing? Because if they know, they might be able to help you. So, anyways, the trust me, the fear factor is the lowest for this. The good thing about this is that the speed to the first client is going to be the absolute fastest, because again, if you have 10 people in your network, and 10 of them are business owners, and they're looking for a solution for basically never having to touch a phone ever again, they're going to be really willing to work with you, because they know who you are. If you show them that you're a hard worker, hopefully, then they'll know that you're reliable and that they can trust you with it. So this is the easiest way to get your first client. Next is going to be the scalability is going to be the lowest. Now, the reason for that is you only know who you know, right? Your database probably only consists of about 100 people, and of them, there's probably only about 10 business owners, right? And once you contacted those 10, you basically need to find new people. So the scalability is definitely the lowest here. Now, after that, we can go ahead and go into something called cold email and DM. And the fear factor for this one is also really low, because again, you're not really talking to them. You don't really hear their voice. There's nothing to be afraid about. You just write a simple script, and hopefully you're using AI to hyper personalize and write it for you, so that you can literally just write it once and then just put your hands up and just let it run it for you. So this is absolutely not scary whatsoever. Good thing about it is the speed to client and the scalability are actually pretty high, right? It's extremely cheap to, I think Google, you can buy a business profile for like $7 a month, and just, go ahead and write like hundreds of cold emails every single day. And so it's not bad at all. And then let's say you send 100 emails a day, of those 100, maybe like, let's say like, 30 of them read the email. Let's say like 10 of them respond to the email. Of those 10, let's say like 3 people, book a call with you, and then you're able to close one of them, and that's already a lot. If you're closing one person a day, that's immense. If you're closing 2 people a week, that's like $1,000 of new revenue every month or every week, and that's huge. So believe me, this is extremely easy to scale, and the speed to client is not too bad either. Now, the next method is going to be cold calling. This one's a little bit scarier, because especially if you're doing manual cold calls, you're gonna literally be, talking to people, and you're gonna, especially the first time that you do this, you're not gonna know what to say. You're gonna feel a lot of pressure, whatever it might be, right? But again, the one thing that I would like to add about the fear factor is it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? A lot of times, the things that you're most afraid of are going to be the things that are going to allow you to become a better person and learn new skills, right? So something like communication skills, public speaking skills, cold calling is going to help you learn that a lot faster than if you're just doing something like cold email. Now, a really nice benefit to this is that the speed to the first client is actually faster than cold email, because a lot of times with cold email is, when people just see a message in the inbox, it's not really that resonating with them, right? On the other hand, if you're talking to them and they're hearing your voice and they can feel the emotion behind basically what you're saying, then they're going to be a little bit more inclined to basically learn more about what it is exactly it is that you're doing. So that's very good. Now the scalability for calling, I set it at medium, and the reason for that is because you can't make nearly as many cold calls per day as you can cold email. Because with cold email, you can literally just write one simple automation and it just does everything for you really easily. But the thing with cold calling, especially if you're doing cold calls manually, you're going to be spending 8 hours every single day saying the same exact thing every day, and it's really boring. And again, if you're lucky, you might be able to make maximum a thousand calls a day, right? But the reason why the scalability is actually not too bad is especially with with the help of AI voice agents, and especially the ones that I'm developing right now, is going to be you can basically automate it as much as you're automating cold email, right? The only downside is that since it does take a while to do cold calls, every call might last like a minute or two. Then you're gonna need to buy way more phone numbers, and this is a little bit more overhead. But again, if you're willing to basically uh, buy all those phone numbers and increase your concurrency, then you can actually scale it up as much, if not more, than cold email. But that's a little bit more advanced. And finally, we have content and social media. And this basically means either creating videos for YouTube or writing posts for LinkedIn or posting to Facebook and Instagram, trying to convert people who you already know. Or basically trying to attract people who don't know who you are, but are interested in what you're trying to teach them about, or show them what you do, right? So the fear factor for this is by far the highest, right? So like most people, they've never stood in front of a webcam and started talking to it like a crazy person, right? And so it's extremely frustrating and a hard skill to learn. And personally, I've been doing it for about 2 months, and it's still really scary and hard to learn. So trust me, it is very hard, but at the same time, like I was saying earlier, a lot of times the things that are the hardest for you to do are the most rewarding, right? They're going to teach you a lot of the skills that you need to learn anyways, to do things like getting onto a Zoom call with a client, right? You're gonna need to be able to do literally the exact same things, such as talking to them, listening to their pain points, crafting your offer in a way that resonates with them so that they can see very easily the return on investment that they're going to get if they work with you. So uh, I would recommend that, everybody at least try this, so that they do get like a jump start in order to learn those skills to become a better agency owner in the future. Um, but the downside to this is that the speed to your first client is going to be the slowest, right? Because obviously, most people they're gonna be starting out with an audience of literally zero people, right? So it's gonna take a really long time to get people to start paying attention and to basically prove your authority in the space. Um, so that's why it's the slowest. But the upside to this is that the scalability is actually the highest. If you're lucky, you can make one video and then that video could go viral and maybe it might get like 1 million views, for example. And if you only convert 0.01% of those into a paying client, that's already, I think, about 100 paying clients, right? And that 100 paying clients is literally a huge agency. Now that's gonna be netting what was like 50K a month, right? So that's a ton of value that you can get from just one video. And now the other hand to that is if you're unlucky, you might get 100 views. And of those 100 views, probably nobody's going to become, converted to a paying client, right? And so there is a big gamble to this. But again, as I was saying earlier, the gamble is basically if you don't have a lot of time to dedicate into building this, then you're never going to get it to a point where it's going to be large enough for you to actually see the benefits and the return on it, right? But let's say you're able to dedicate 90 days to it, and you're able to get a following of, let's say, like 10,000 followers. Then all of a sudden, every video that you're posting is going to get thousands of views. And then once you're able to do that, then literally every video that you make is going to help you net like at least one or two clients, right? And so then as you can see, it might take you like, let's say, 5 hours to make a video. You spend 5 hours in order to get a client or two, which is going to have like a lifetime value of like thousands of dollars. So it's easily worth it if you're able to basically dedicate that amount of time and you're not in like a huge need of money immediately, and you're willing to basically invest for the future. I would definitely recommend content social things like YouTube. Develop a following on LinkedIn, and that's going to help teach you things like copywriting. So there's a bunch of different skills that need to be learned here, and that's going to help you be a better version of yourself. And so again, if you're not doing this purely for the money, this is a really good challenge for you to basically improve your skills as a person. And then finally, again, scalability is the highest, and it's literally going to make you the most amount of money in the long term. So I'll definitely recommend this. So again, one, start with your network. Try to get your first clients that it gives you the startup capital so that you can go ahead and invest into the other methods. Two, go ahead and buy like a couple of different business emails, and that's going to allow you to scale your cold email campaign to a couple hundred emails every single day. After that, learn how to do cold calling. Watch my tutorial about how to do a scalable cold caller. You can make thousands of cold calls every single day. Again, it does cost a little bit more money because, like I said earlier, you're going to need to buy different phone numbers. You're going to need to basically, handle credits and all that stuff. But again, it's almost always worth it, right? Especially if you optimize your campaign and you optimize your targeting and your sales offer and things like that. And finally, content and social. If you don't need money immediately, go ahead and try to invest into starting a channel. Again, it doesn't really cost that much money to get started, which is the beauty of it. But it does require a lot of time and a lot of hard work. But again, like I was saying earlier, if you're willing to put in the hard work, you're going to learn a lot of skills. That's going to be worth way more than a couple clients here and there. So in my next video, I'm going to show you exactly how to build AI voice agents easily and quickly. So make sure to hit subscribe and like, and I will see you in the next video. I built this real estate AI agent that automatically qualifies leads and books appointments like this straight into your calendar 24/7. An AI agent like this is easily worth over $1,000 a month to real estate agents and realtors. Let's go ahead and watch a quick demo on how exactly it did this.
Thank you for calling Apex Realty. This is Brenda. How may I help you? I can certainly help with that. Make sure I get you the right information. Are you looking to buy a property, sell a property, or both? Perfect. And just for our record, are you currently under a signed agreement with another real estate agent? Okay, Anthony, just to confirm, I have you down for a free consultation on Thursday, August 7th at 9 a.m. Is that all correct? Excellent. The appointment is confirmed, and a text message with the details have been sent. An agent will be in touch. Goodbye.
I'm Anthony, and in this tutorial, I'm going to show you the step-by-step on how to build this AI agent from scratch. You can get started for free using the links in the description. Let's get started. So the 3 steps that we're going to use today are, first of all, we're going to need to build the AI voice agent. Second, we're going to need to develop the automated workflow. And 3, we're going to do a quick demo to show exactly how it all works. Starting with number 1, AI voice agent. To do that, we're going to go to a website called vappy.ai. This platform is basically the number 1 platform for developing AI voice agents. So go ahead and go here and click on sign up. Once you've done that, you're going to see a screen that looks like this. And as of right now, we don't have any assistants, so we're going to go ahead and get that set up. So go over here and click on assistants, and we're going to go ahead and create our first assistant. So click on this. All right, and we're going to name it Real Estate AI Agent. Okay, so go here and click Create Assistant. Perfect. So now this is what it's going to look like when you create your first assistant. And all we need to do now is go through some steps to get it all set up. So the provider that we'll use is OpenAI. That's perfect. The model that we'll use is GPT 4.1 mini. Now, the reason why I prefer this model is because it's very balanced. It can handle the instructions well, but it's not also too slow, because some of the models will be just too slow and it's not going to sound realistic anymore. So 4.1 mini is perfect. The next thing to do is set the first message mode. So right now it's set to assistant speaks first. That basically means that when somebody calls your number, the assistant's going to say, hello, how may I help you? Or whatever it is. And they're going to talk first. Okay. Now, next, we're going to fill out the first message. This basically means as soon as the agent picks up the phone, what is the first thing that they're going to say? So it can be something as simple as, hello, how may I help you? Okay. Next, we're going to do the system prompt. And what the system prompt is basically the instructions that the AI agent will use to do whatever that it is that it needs to do. So for example, here we could just say, you are a helpful AI receptionist for Apex Realty. Okay. But again, for this, you want to give it instructions that are as specific as possible. So it does take a long time to test, but I do recommend that you play around with it to see what works. Okay. But for me personally, since I've already spent hundreds of hours developing this, I'm going to get it straight from my community. So in my school community, I have all of this information, Vappy prompts, NNN templates, and all that stuff. So I'm just going to click on one of these and then download the file and use it. So I've already downloaded them. So I'm going to go over here, go to downloads, and then I'm going to open up the file called, let's see, first message real estate.json. Okay. Now that I have it, click Control A, Control C to copy, go back over to Vappy, go to first message, Control A, Control V. Perfect, that's done. So also make sure you hit publish every once in a while. Just make sure that it saves and you don't lose your progress. Okay. So same thing for system prompt. If I just use this, it's not going to know exactly what to do. So I need to tell it very precisely what I need to do. So go ahead and go over here, double click on the assistant prompt real estate.json. It's going to give you all the instructions. So Control A, Control C, okay? Control A, Control V. That's done. Hit publish to save. Cool. I won't get too much into the detail here. It just takes a lot of testing to make sure that it does exactly what you need it to do. Okay. Now for the temperature, always set it to 0.4 because, like I said, through hundreds of hours of testing, that's the best. For the voice configuration, you can use whatever you want. Personally, I like to use something called DeepGram, just because the voice is really nice. So let's see, go here and then hit this. Okay. Again, you can test this and choose whatever voice that you want. Perfect. Now, finally, the last thing to do is set up the tools. Okay. So what are tools? Tools are basically tools that we give to the AI agent that allow it to do specialized actions. In this case, we're going to need it to do things like qualify the lead, checking the availability of the Google Calendar, and also booking the appointment. So in this case, we're going to use 3 different tools. And later, when you get more advanced, you might use like 5 or 10 different tools, but we'll keep it really simple today. So make sure we click on publish just to make sure that it saves before we go ahead and create that tool. Okay. Now go over here to the left, click on tools, and then we're going to go up here and click on create tool. The tool that we're going to use today is a custom tool because we're going to build it from scratch. So custom tool. Now the first one we're going to build is called check availability. Okay. So type in check availability. Now we're going to need to give it the parameters. Now, what are the parameters? The parameters basically tell the tool what exact information that it needs to collect. So for example, it's going to need things like the name or phone number, things like that. Okay. Now it does take a really long time to develop this as well. So what I would do is just go to Visual Editor and just click on this. Now this is going to allow you to paste in the code that automatically finishes it for you. So I'm just going to go over to the files that I downloaded, click on check availability.json. That'll open it for me. So Control A, Control C, go over here, Control V, and paste it in. So as you can see, basically what it's saying is that what we need to collect here is we need to collect an initial search date and time. So this is telling the agent that it needs to find and listen for the time that the client is saying that they want to book an appointment. Okay. So click apply and then save to save that. Okay. Perfect. So moving on to the next tool, click on create tool, custom tool. This one's going to be called book appointment. Book appointment. Now remember, the name actually matters, so make sure it's typed in exactly how I'm showing you here. Okay. Now, parameters here, same thing. We're going to need to tell it exactly what it needs. So I'm going to go over here and make it easy. Double click on book appointment. Control A, Control C. Click on Visual Editor, and then Control V. Apply. Okay. And also, if you want to see this using no code, you can actually click on this one more time, and then it'll actually show you exactly what it's collecting. So it's collecting a client name, an end date and time, and a start date and time. And so this is the information that it needs in order to book that appointment. Okay. So go ahead and click save to make sure it saves. And perfect, it's saved. So the last thing we're going to need to do is create a tool called qualify the lead. Okay. So create tool, custom tool. The tool is going to be called qualify lead. Perfect. And same thing, parameters, click on Visual Editor and get the code. So it's going to be called qualify lead real estate. Okay. Control A, Control C, Control V. Apply. Now, as you can see, it's getting pretty long, pretty fast. So you really want to save that time and get it from my Skool community. So, okay. So here it's asking for a transaction type, whether the client is going to be a buyer or a seller. Timeline, so how soon are they trying to buy or sell? If it's 2 years from now, we don't want to work with them because that's just too long. And if they're working with an agent already, we're just going to decline them because that's a waste of time, right? So this is very important when trying to save time with your AI agent. So now that that's done, click on save. Perfect. So now that the tools are done and created, we can actually go back to our assistant and give that to them. So slide back over to assistants. Now slide down to find the tool section. Click on tools, click on select tools, and then go ahead and click on the tools that we just created. So qualify the lead, book the appointment and check the availability. So as you can see, it's all populated down here. Now we'll just go ahead and click publish, and our assistant is 100% done. Okay. Now the last thing that we need to do here is go over to phone numbers, because we need to give it a phone number that it'll answer calls at. Okay. So click on phone numbers. We don't have any created yet, so go ahead and click on create phone number. Now here, you can actually create up to 10 per account for absolutely free. So don't have to worry about paying for anything. So it doesn't really matter what the area code is. We just need a number. So it says 346. So I'll go ahead and try that. Sure. Click on create. This area code is currently not available. Try one of these. So I'll try 631. That's fine. Create. Perfect. So it automatically created for me. The number is right here. And that's basically the number that I will need to call later in order to test it out. And it'll be the number that when you give it to your clients, that they'll be able to put on their website and things like that for using this agent. Okay. So the phone number label will just be real estate AI agent. Perfect. All of that can stay the same. And the last thing we need to do is click on assistant and click on the agent that we're going to assign to this phone number. So that's just going to be real estate AI agent because we just built that. Okay. Now that is done, all it's left to do is hit save, and it's done. So that is officially the end of setting up the AI voice agent. Now, as I said earlier, step 2 is building the automated workflow. So what do we need to do for that? We need to go to a website called N8N. Okay. Now, again, links in the description so you can find that real easy. So go ahead and click get started for free. Once you've done that, you're going to see a screen that looks like this. It's going to be completely empty. We're going to need to build it out. So now you can build this out manually by hitting add first step, and choosing all of these. Again, it takes hundreds of hours to learn and do all that stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide over here, click on these 3 dots, then click on import from file. And then I'm going to click on the template that I have built for you guys. So let's see, it's going to be called appointment setter real estate.json. Go ahead and click open. And there it is. It's all done. So as you can see, it's going to start with the VAPI webhook, and it's going to go through here, and it's going to basically route based on the name of the tool. And then, so based on the name of the tool, it's going to do each of these 3 things. Okay. So if this is the first time you're seeing this, this is basically a no code workflow automation builder. You just build these nodes and then you link them together, and then it goes from left to right, inputs, output. And it's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. So now, once you set this up, the first thing that we need to do is actually connect the N8N workflow with the VAPI tool that we created. So the way that we do that is by using a webhook. A webhook is basically something that listens on a URL for any data that's passed over on that URL. So double click on this first one, click on the production URL. Production URL basically means that once we set the workflow to active, then it's going to be constantly listening for information. And it's not just for testing. Okay. So this is our URL. So make sure to click this a couple of times, make sure we get that copied, and then go back over to VAPI. And we just need to pass this in over to the tools that we created. So go ahead and click on tools. Now for each of the tools that we created, we'll slide down to the server URL and then paste that in. Okay. So it's going to look just like that. Hit save. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that everybody's server URL is different. So this is going to be mine because this is what I'm using for my website, but yours is going to be different, and that's completely normal. And that's exactly what you want. Otherwise, everybody's going to be sending data on the same URL and it's going to get really messy. Okay. So you're going to have to paste in your unique URL. Okay. Now go over to the second tool, paste this, hit save. That's done. Last tool, go down here, server URL, paste, hit save. Okay, so this is officially completely done, including the tools and hooking it up with N8N. Okay, so now we can go back over to N8N and finish filling this out. So this is also really quick because it only takes 3 steps. It's going to be filling out this, number 1, number 2, filling out the Google Calendar, and number 3, filling out this Google Calendar. So it's really quick. Now, the next thing we're going to do is set the variables for this workflow. So double click here, and here you're basically just going to put simple information like your name, your business name, the service that you provide, your time zone, things like that. So I'm just going to set the time zone real quick. Okay, done. Again, it's just nice to hit save every once in a while to make sure that you don't lose your progress. So the next thing that's going to happen is it's going to route the tool based on the name. So let's say, for example, I make a call and then I'm asking the agent to use a tool called check availability. In the case that it uses the check availability tool, it's going to redirect the workflow over here. And then it's going to work in this code node, which I wrote. It's pretty complicated. I'm not going to try to explain it, but basically it's going to try to calculate the slots that are available. Okay. And then it's going to go into the Google Calendar in order to get those slots to see which is available. So let's go ahead and set this up real quick. Double click on this. So here you're going to need to set up your credential if you haven't already. So you're going to click on create new credential. It does take about 3 minutes to get this set up. I'm going to link to my video where I can show you how to set that up completely. Okay, so once you've done that, go to calendar. The mode is going to be from the list. And then for here, the calendar is just going to be your calendar. So since I have all my events in this calendar, this is going to be the calendar that I select. Okay, now that is done. And as I said earlier, it's going to run through some more code. I'll just show you that real quick. It basically looks like this, and it's going to do some math in order to calculate what exactly are the open slots. And finally, it's going to use a webhook to send data back to the AI agent so that it knows exactly what those available slots are. Okay. Now, after that is done, the client's going to say, well, I want to book an appointment now. Okay. So then it's going to use the book appointment tool. And then once it realizes that it's the book appointment tool, it's going to send the workflow down here. And basically what that means is it's going to try to book the appointment into that Google Calendar. So let's go ahead and set that up real quick. Double click on this. Same thing here, set your credential that you just built. And then go to calendar from the list and select your calendar. Same exact thing. Just choose your calendar and it's done. And real quick for this one, it's a little bit different because it's going to create the event in the calendar. And in order to do that, we want to pass it some information such as the name, the phone number, qualification details, etc. So once you get more advanced, you can try to change this yourself, but for now, I'll just leave that. Okay, cool. And then it's going to respond to the AI agent that it was booked properly and it's done. So now one thing is that this is actually a really simple implementation of this AI agent. There's a lot of different things that you can do. For example, you could make it send an SMS confirmation after it books the appointment. You can also make it answer frequently asked questions like, what time do you close? What time do you open? Are you open on July 4th? Things like that. You can also make it transfer calls to humans, reschedule appointments, speak every language, machine learning. All of this stuff is pretty advanced. And I teach all of this in my Skool community. So if you're interested in learning that, make sure you join at this link right here. Okay. Awesome. So now all is left to do is hit save. And then we need to turn on the workflow to make sure that it's active. And basically what that means is that now it's actively listening for information. So if I were to go ahead and call that phone number and I were to talk to it and I were to say things like, okay, well, check the availability and then book the appointment for me, then it's going to be able to send that data and it's going to end up here and it's going to be able to route that information and run the workflow. So let's go ahead and test it actually right now and see how it works. So we're going to go back over here to look at the phone number so I know what number to call. So click on phone numbers. And I'm just going to call that phone number. Now remember, this is my phone number. I'm going to delete it after this. But for you guys, when you set this up, you're going to get a unique phone number, and that's going to be the phone number that you call.
Thank you for calling Apex Realty. This is Brenda. How may I help you?
I want to buy a property.
I can certainly help with that. Make sure I get you the right information. Are you looking to buy a property, sell a property, or both?
I'm only looking to buy a property.
Excellent. To help us find the perfect homes in your price range, have you already been pre-approved for a mortgage?
Yes.
Okay, and what is your ideal timeline for moving into a new home?
3 months.
Perfect. And just for our records, are you currently under a signed agreement with another real estate agent?
No.
Perfect. Thank you for that information. Based on that, the best next step is to schedule a free, no obligation consultation with one of our licensed agents. Is that something you'd be open to?
Yes.
Excellent. which day and time would work best for you to speak with an agent?
What slots do you have available on Thursday?
On Thursday, August 7th, I have available slots at 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m., 2 p.m., 4:30 p.m., and 5 p.m. Would any of those times work for you?
Yeah, could we do 9 a.m. on Thursday?
Great, I can book that for you. And what is the full name?
My name is Anthony.
Okay, Anthony, just to confirm, I have you down for a free consultation on Thursday, August 7th at 9 a.m. Is that all correct?
That is correct.
Excellent. The appointment is confirmed, and a text message with the details has been sent. An agent will be in touch. Goodbye.
All right, and there it is. It's all done. It was able to create it automatically into the calendar. And so now you just watched me build a $1,000 a month AI agent for the real estate niche. Now, if you want all of this information, you can go to my Skool community, link in the description, where you can find all of my proven VAPI prompts, my end-to-end templates, and you can even go over here to the one-on-one support tab, where you can ask any question that you want, and I will help you to build your workflow and build your agents. So now if you enjoyed that, make sure to subscribe for more tutorials, and I will see you in the next one.